Hey y'all. So this week we're going to be working with decimal numbers. You should have already done your vocabulary. So, sorry. You should know a little bit about what a decimal number is. You're going to go back into your table of contents, go to your next line, put decimals on page 38. So do that now. Then go to page 38. And then turn your book sideways. Okay, so this is how it was. Turn it sideways. Okay, we're going to make this on our journal. So do you see how it has lines going up and down? Okay, each one of these is one of those lines. So in the first line is where you're going to have this place value. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3 lines over. On the next one, put your decimal. So I'll walk you through that now. Okay, so starting on that first line, you have your thousandths place. I kind of went off. Thousandths place. Okay, your next one, that is your hundredths place. Now the big difference between the hundredths place and the hundreds place is this THS, okay? So that THS tells me that all of these are decimals, and you're going to see the same thing with the next one. The next one is our tenths place, and it has that THS, and so did our thousandths. So that tells me that those numbers are decimals, okay? Those are my decimal numbers. So I have my thousandths, my hundredths, and my tens. Make sure you have that in your journal. Okay, and Miss High can pause this video at any time to where you can write it down. Okay, so I have my thousandths, my hundredths, and my tenths. Next, I have my decimal. So you need to make sure you write in that decimal. Now, when we make that decimal say its name, we call it and. So whenever we're working with decimal numbers, the decimal is always and. A-N-D, and. Okay. When I move next to my decimal, on this side, these are our whole numbers. So this one would be the ones place. O-N-E-S, ones, okay? Ones place. I move to my next place value, and I have my tens place. And we've learned about this in earlier grades. We're just bringing it all back. Okay, so we have our ones, tens, next is hundreds. So we go ones, tens, hundreds, comma. We have our comma, okay? And then we have our thousands place. Okay? After our thousands, we follow just like we did over here. So we have our 10,000s place. And then after our 10,000s, we have our 100,000s. Okay, then we have another comma, so make sure you put that comma in there. After our 100,000s and our comma, we go into the millions. And we're going to stop at the millions today. We might play around with some tens and hundred millions later on. But we're going to stop there today. So you want to make sure that yours looks just like mine. If not, raise your hand. Let Miss Height know that you need some time so that she can pause the video. Okay. After it looks just like mine, we're going to play around with some numbers and putting them into this. Okay. So the first thing that I want to teach y'all though is about the difference between a whole number and a decimal number. So if you're looking at the number 3 is a whole number, okay? So does it have any decimal with it? Do you see a decimal? No. The one thing I want you to always remember, if you do not see a decimal in the number, if this is a whole number, you do not see a decimal, the decimal always, always, always goes at the end. Say that with me. If you do not see a decimal, it goes at the end. Say it with me. If you do not see a decimal, it goes at the end. One more time. If you do not see a decimal, it goes at the end. Okay, so this was my whole number. I've added a decimal, and let's say I want to add 1/10. You notice how I said tenth? Okay, that makes it a decimal number. This right here becomes a decimal number. So I had 3 and, because remember I can't say 3 decimal, I say 3 and, I gave it a name, 3 and 1/10. Okay, so when I go to put this on my new chart that I just made in my journal, I'm sure it looks beautiful, okay, I take this, I look at my decimal first. You always want to look at your decimal first. This is the same as when you're doing those gridables on the STAR test. You always go to your decimal. So I have my decimal and my decimal. Okay, I look and see what is on this side of my decimal, my decimal number. Okay, I have a 1. This is in the tens place. So I go to my tens place and I put a 1. Okay, I know I had my decimal. So then in front of my decimal was a 3. This is in the ones place. So I go to the ones place and I put a 3. So I know that this is 3 and, because my chart up here tells me to say and, 3 and 1/10. So wherever your number stops, that's where you go back up to the top and you make it say the name that it's in. So 3 and 1/10. Okay? We're going to play around with some different numbers. So, let's try this number. Let's see if anybody can figure out this one. That looks kind of tricky. I have a lot of numbers. I see a comma. I see a decimal. Let's go put it in our chart so that it can tell us exactly what to say. So where do I start at? Do I start at my 4? No, I'm not going to start with my 4. I'm going to go to my decimal. So start your decimal. Go over here and put your decimal. Okay. So I see my decimal. On this side I have a 0. So I put a 0 in the tenths column. Okay. Then I go next door and I see a 3. So I go next door here and I put a 3. I have a 3 in my hundredths column. Okay. Am I done? No, I still have all of this to put in my chart. So go back to your decimal and go to this side. I have a 1 in the ones place. Then I go next door again. I see a 0 in the tens place. Then I go next door again. I have a 5 in the hundreds place. Oh, I have this thing. Well, I put it in my chart. So I bring that comma down and I go next door and I have a 4 in the thousands place. So whenever I'm reading this and I get to that comma, I'm not going to say comma. That would be silly. I go up and I say 4,000 because that's the last place value. So 4,501 and, so 4,501 and 3 hundredths. Okay? Why didn't I say that 0? Does that 0 hold any value right there? No, I go to the 3. So I have 4,501 and 3 hundredths. Okay? Remember that decimal says and. Alright? I'm going to give you a few more numbers to try on your own, and I will be doing a journal check when I get back. Okay? So I'll be back with you tomorrow. Yay! Okay? So tomorrow, while you're working on your warm-up, you'll have your journal out on your desk. I'll walk around and I want to check to see how you did on this. Okay? So remember, if your journal does not look like mine, raise your hand and say, Miss Height, can you please pause the video so that I can catch up? Okay? I'm going to give you 2 more numbers that I want you to put into your journal. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that, and then you can move on to your next assignment. Okay? So the first thing you're going to put into your journal is, let's say, this number right here. And I'm not even going to tell you what the number is. I'm not going to say it because I want you to put it in there and then try to say it. See a lot of 1s, 0s, and 8s in that one. Okay, and then I'm going to give you one more. Okay, I'm going to give you one more number. Let's write this one, and I'm going to write it in yellow. I'm getting colorful with this. So I'm going to give you, let's play with the millions place, okay? I gave you that one. You know it starts in the millions. Okay, so right now you're looking at these 2 numbers. You're putting these 2 numbers into your chart. Okay, so remember, the big thing I want you to take away from this is that you always start at your decimal. So start your decimal, find it over here, write it down. So on this problem right here, we should all be writing down that decimal. Okay? Look on your decimal side first, so we're going to start with here, and then move along. Go back to your decimal, and then do this side all the way across. Then go down to your next number, and I will check these tomorrow when I come into class. I want to see everybody caught up. I want to see everybody with this put into their journal. If not, I'll pull you aside and we'll work on it. Okay? But I want you to work really hard. You have a motivation page to get started on. What you don't finish, you will take home, and we'll go over it tomorrow in class. Okay? Just try your best. That's what I'm asking for. I hope you're behaving. I hope you're doing what you're supposed to be doing in class. And I hope that I'm not going to come back and see a lot of tabs pulled on that, because Miss Ford is watching you, and she will be giving me a report of how you did.
I'm always watching.
Okay, so I'll see y'all tomorrow. I miss y'all, and I hope y'all have been good. Bye.